Everyone, it's Vivian, and this week, week 6, we went over bullying and cyberbullying or social media interactions surrounding bullying among teen groups, how teens perceive bullying themselves, as well as how adults around them perceive bullying, which can be two very different things, which we saw in the readings this week. Across all three readings, we can see how Murray Milner's sociological framework is referenced, which relates to his book Freaks, Geeks, and Cool Kids, off of his observations among an American high school. Murray's work identifies four enduring features as stated by Best. Those four enduring features associated with understanding the nature and formation status within teen groups relates to conformity, association, inalienability, and expansibility. Now, Molner's perspective falls in line with symbolic interactionism or interactionist frameworks and theories. That includes labeling, where children can be labeled as losers, outsiders, lames, what have you. That correlates with Becker's labeling theory. In addition, there's meaning behind those terms, and those terms can cause certain things as exclusion from groups. So being labeled as something that is deemed derogatory or unacceptable within these teen groups can exclude others from participating with the popular kids and so forth. Now, Mona's work could also be expanded in a way that considers the power dynamics associated with race, class, gender, and status. In our readings, we saw how gender and class and status were highlighted most. Then we have control theory framework, which was coined by Walter Reckless in 1973, that addresses why some teens conform to social norms while others engage in deviant behavior like bullying and social media and things of that nature. And then we're going to go all the way back down to label theory again, which is where Lamert highlights how outsiders are alienated from the in crowd or popular groups for whatever attribute or characteristic the popular kids deem doesn't fit within their social norms. All of these perspectives could be consolidated and looked at more closely through Kimberly Crenshaw's lens, intersectionality, which I believe could explain the differences in teen perceptions on what bullying is and adult perceptions on what bullying is based on a multitude of factors. Although our work did touch on how home, whether it's support systems at home or if there's an area of neglect, it may not be intentional neglect. It could be that where the parents aren't present because of working schedules and things of that nature. But somehow their use in teens are overlooked. And that can cause a compounded feeling for those who are experiencing being bullied. I came across a YouTube video, which I have linked in this blog, that I found very interesting. I will do my best to try to link it within this video. However, if not, please take a moment and watch it. Within the entire video, you can see how a young man named Noah is impacted by bullying and how a peer of his responded to this bullying. It is a tale that doesn't explicitly say what happens, but you can see how some teens are reluctant to follow with authoritarian figures because of what happens in this video. And then we can also see the physical embodiment of what bullying can do to a person. The video has the initial victim having goop or purple ick on him, and that represents the stigma that is associated with being bullying in a physical form. And then it shows how his classmate was disturbed by what she saw and reported the bullying. And someone caught her reporting the bullying, which again, I'll try to add these clips within this video. However, if not, please take a moment to watch the video before this to see exactly what I'm referencing. The young lady goes and reports the incident to the appropriate counselor, and then she becomes stigmatized because someone saw her doing the reporting. And the purple goo or ick grows on her, and it shows how it impacted her. You can see how some things were overlooked by her father and how her peers began to treat her. So it shows what happens to some individuals when they do step up and try to protect individuals who are being bullied. They become victims themselves. So it's, in a sense, a deterrent for many youths to not report bullying of other individuals because they fear retribution for it. I think it's an excellent video to tie this week up or wrap this week up with. And I'm hoping I haven't been all over the place, possibly have been. But overall, there are so many varying reasons that can attribute to individuals committing the bullying and those who are impacted by said bullying. The video that I posted before this is just one example of how a victim is treated and feels, and then someone who steps in to help said victim also becomes victimized themselves. So it's a really good video. It's not that long. Actually, it's about as long as this video here. But take a moment to watch it. And again, I think that if we took a more nuanced approach to complex issues instead of putting them all into one or two or maybe three categories, we can get a fuller picture of how to address things in our society, such as bullying, whether it's at an adolescence level or if it's at a different stage in someone's life, because bullying can have lifelong effects on an individual. It's important that we address it in the early stages of our lives and of our children's lives so they can go on to be successful and have better social outcomes in the future. Well, that's it for me this week. I hope everyone has a good weekend.